The convicted felon president of the United States of America is weak. He's not strategic. He's impulsive. He has very little idea of how politics, especially international relations, diplomacy work. Benjamin Netanyahu knew this. He has been wanting to attack Iran for 3 decades. He did it, and then dog-walked Trump right into it. And now the United States is involved in a war in the Middle East after we knew what a disaster it was under George W. Bush when the United States of America propagandized the entire world, lied to the entire world, and went into the Iraq war, trillions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of lives lost, absolute disaster. And here we are again. And then now this president is surrounded by evil people who gaslight and propagandize the American public. None other does this as well as little smoky-eye sociopath J.D. Vance, the pathetic vice president of the United States. Play this clip.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long, drawn-out thing. We've got in, we've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program over the coming years, and that is what the president has set out to do. Simple.
Okay, number one, does he think we're stupid, that we think Donald Trump is smart? I'm not saying that I think George W. Bush was smart, because I didn't then and I don't now. And I think Dick Cheney and all of them, all of the hawks surrounding him, the neocons, knew exactly what they were doing. They knew they were lying, just like Benjamin Netanyahu knows he's lying. But here's the thing. If we are going to spend United States taxpayer money to get involved in a war in the Middle East, the evidence that there is a direct threat to the United States of America has to be crystal clear, concrete. Congress needs to see it. The American public needs to see what can be seen for, permitting national security issues. But we haven't seen that. There has been zero threshold met here. And just as an armchair political commentary person, I see exactly what happened. Benjamin Netanyahu knows the United States of America is as weak as it could ever be, and tons of politicians in the United States Congress and the United States Senate, both parties are compromised by AIPAC lobbyists, and we are getting propagandized left, right, up, down, and center. And nothing about this helps the cause of anti-Semitism, which is incredibly real. None of this helps the cause of democracy. Like, we're supposed to take this argument to Iran. You guys are cruel. You guys are terrible. And they are. But let's remember, the president of the United States of America asked his Secretary of Defense in his first term if he could shoot American citizens in the legs. So it's not like we have the moral high ground to go and preach this great democracy where kids get shot in school. American arrogance is so out of control. And for these morally depraved fuckers to deliver it is just so rich and so hypocritical.
I completely agree with you. And I look at this, when I first saw that this had happened, I thought, okay, so you have the complete flop of his birthday parade. Then you have Netanyahu stroking his ego. Then he comes out with his 2 weeks. And now they're trying to say it was subterfuge. What I think it was is he saw the backlash and everybody calling him a chicken and saying he wouldn't do it. And Trump chickens out on everything. Tariffs, Iran. This to me was him showing him, I'm a big boy. I can do it. I do not believe for a second that he was surrounded by experts, nor do I think he gives a shit. He wanted to show brute strength by the United States. Consequences be damned.
Yes, and I also think that this was a very strategic play by Benjamin Netanyahu.
Absolutely.
I mean, he absolutely created this and walked the United States of America into it, because I've read reports that Israel's military supplies, obviously, are quite thin after they bombed the shit out of civilians in Gaza for 2 years with pretty much impunity to American politicians, which is abhorrent and disgusting, and it just the war crimes. And the fact that we're supporting a war criminal right now, the United States of America is supporting Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a war criminal, who kills journalists, bombs hospitals, kills children, kills all sorts of civilians, and then starves the civilian population, starves them out. And this is our ally, and we're going to go preach American values around the world. Give me a break. But another evil, just pathetic person surrounding Trump and all of this decision-making is complete schizophrenic little Marco Rubio. Play the clip.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked in the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build
point
a
in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not
I know that
been
better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
you don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything.
I mean, this is just pathetic. This is worse than when Colin Powell went to the United Nations and lied to the entire world. He's saying, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, it's not. Acting like he's in junior high school. Meanwhile, our taxpayer dollars are going to support this insane war as though we're some beacon of freedom and we're some beacon for the world to look at us, look how great we are. And give me a break. Donald Trump campaigned on defeating the enemy from within, and now he wants to defeat Iran. This is so schizophrenic. These are very, very unserious people with very, very serious jobs who have annihilated the expertise around them. And this is just, as a mother who has two sons right now, to see just how flippantly they do this with the support of all the pro-life Republicans and the pro-life evangelicals is just breathtaking hypocrisy and American arrogance at its core.
I completely agree. I mean, we are taking people off the street without due process and sending them to concentration camps. We're hardly the beacon of the world in government. And I just want to say, Marco Rubio has been on the Foreign Intelligence Committee. He knows what expertise is. He knows the realistic and diplomatic consequences of something like this. And it is obvious to me he did not stand in the breach for this impulsive nutball that's unable to control his emotions.
And, you know, you have like people like Tulsi Gabbard, who said on the record very clearly that Iran did not have a nuke. And it was reported by Time magazine, Trump's public rebuke of Tulsi Gabbard's statement on Iran. That's one headline. And if you really want to dig into how the American public is propagandized and spun, download Ground News, because here's how the right reports the same story. Tulsi Gabbard's clarification on Iran after Trump's second rebuke in a week. And so you have everybody in the United States that are in their silos where they get propaganda from one side, they get facts. If you happen to find American media, which there are some that fact check. And that's why Ground News is something that we use every single morning when we prepare for these episodes, so that we understand the mental gymnastics that people on the right are going through, possible spin on the left, and then what are the facts? And we get that every morning from Ground News.
What's so nice about Ground News is you don't have to question if what you're reading is factual, because it will tell you high factuality, low factuality, mixed factuality. It's such an important tool right now.
So join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan that we use every day. They're subscriber funded, and my favorite part is that they are female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work here at IHIP News. That's ground, GROUND news.com/IHIP. All right, here is another instance of J.D. Vance gaslighting the American public, and I think it's really pathetic. Play the clip.
President Trump trust the U.S. intelligence community and its assessments?
Oh, of course we trust our intelligence community, but we also trust our instincts.
Okay, Okay, first of all, his boss, President Taco Tits, he stood in Helsinki in 1.0 and defended Vladimir Putin and said he did not trust the United States intelligence. So the fact that we have these people out here trying to gaslight us when the record shows the contrary, the record with Donald Trump always shows it's America last. Always colluding with colluding with Israel to bomb Iran is not in America's best interest because it's all based on lies and propaganda by Benjamin Netanyahu. Standing on the stage in Helsinki and bashing United States workers and intelligence that have been penetrated by Russia and taking the side of Vladimir Putin is America last. This man doesn't give a shit about the United States of America and leaving his stamp on a place that's going to grow and prosper. He only myopically sees his ego and then sub things under the ego. If I'm richer, does that make me feel better? If Vladimir Putin thinks I'm cool, does that make me feel better? Bending over for Benjamin Netanyahu so that he can praise me. And don't think for a second either that Benjamin Netanyahu isn't saying shit like this to Trump because they all have a psychological profile. Don't think for a second that he isn't saying stuff like, here's the thing, if we get involved in these wars and we actually do a regime change, then you'll be the one American president that actually brought peace in the Middle East. Obama couldn't do it. George W. Bush couldn't do it. Clinton couldn't do it. They all tried, but you're the one that can do it. And if we're in a war, Americans rarely vote against a wartime president. So you'll be able to subvert Congress and the constitutional amendment. You'll be able to stay in power. I just said that in less than a minute. And that is all it takes for the president of the United States, who is a convicted felon, clearly demented, to be dog-walked with American taxpayer money while our country is really suffering. You have people, U.S. citizens with cancer getting deported, kids getting deported because nobody's checking anything because Stephen Miller, another psycho surrounding Donald Trump, it just, furiously masturbates anytime he sees anybody with brown skin getting locked up and drug out of the country.
You're completely right. And I also think that Trump has something that no other American president has had, is that he doesn't give a shit what civilians are killed in Iran. He doesn't give a shit about the personal lives that are cost of American soldiers because he's made it extremely clear that he thinks they're suckers and losers. So there's not a modicum of empathy in that man.
That's exactly right, which is very dangerous with him colluding with dictators. And in history, every time you see dictators and autocrat wannabes like Benjamin Netanyahu, like Vladimir Putin, like Donald Trump, every time they collude together, it leads to war. And here we are. And make no mistake about it, Benjamin Netanyahu is every bit as bad as Donald Trump. He's just smarter. Mm-hmm. He's savvier. All right. And our last thing, please put up this post from the convicted felon president of the United States, Little Taco Tits. Pop this up. He says it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? MIGA. And I'm just like, I guess, are his supporters this dumb that now they're just the core cult, are now they just going to jump on? And here's the thing. I've seen on corporate news, I've seen everybody say, they throw gay people off the top of buildings. Well, you know what? The Iranian regime is horrible for gay rights. But the state that we live in right here, we played in an episode about 2 weeks ago, a guy who works for the city of Oklahoma City, who's a Southern Baptist preacher, who to his congregation said, all gays need to be executed, lined up and executed. And he said this to thunderous applause and amens to the congregation. So religious fanaticism, whether it's Islamic, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Christianity, is always always, always a problem. And we need to work on the religious fundamentalists who wrote Project 2025 in the United States of America, which is the most regressive, anti-democratic document that has ever been proposed in the United States of America, which is getting instituted line by line by line by line. And we're going to go with our American arrogance and say, oh, guess what? America's so safe. Kids can go to school here and not have to go through metal detectors. Lie. This is just so fucking arrogant, incompetent, and breathtakingly dangerous. That's all we have for this episode. We'll see you all later today.